Hello students, Dr. Everton here reporting from backyard of my sister-in-law's house in Aurora, Colorado. We've been traveling the last couple days in our continuing summer odyssey of being homeless for a month, but I've been able to keep track of what everybody's been doing in the course, and I just want to go over a few things here as we face our final week. The end is indeed near. If you go to the top of our course, the first page, you'll see our schedule, and you'll see we're all the way here at the bottom. So those of you who have stuck with it, we're almost done, and I want to talk a little bit about the final week and what to expect and kind of where we're at with our service project so far. Today, 7:20, you'll note that we have our progress reports due in assignments. That's the main element of what you need to do today. You need to submit that material. And let me go over that very quickly here for you. In today's lesson, if you click on Unit 3, Lesson 14 when it's open, you'll see a series of directives here for activities to submit your formal progress report and to submit your service log. And the formal progress report and the service log are both located in assignments, and there's direct links in the main lessons area. But basically, just follow the instructions. The formal progress reports, you just need to follow the format that was in the handout that we posted a couple weeks ago, and so that should be pretty straightforward. And the service log submission, here, let me just go to assignments and click into these directly. Actually, let me go back to lessons and click into these. For the formal progress reports, as it says here, you simply submit your submission in the same format that you submitted your draft proposals and your formal proposals. And I do want these tonight, Thursday night, midnight, to sort of see where everybody's at, and so that I can start assigning points to these. These are worth 100 points. If you go back over the handout, they're mostly just reflective elements. Journal entries that you've kept while you've been doing your service. Some of them require specific responses to exercises from your learning and serving textbook, so there's some specific reflective exercises that you need to complete there. So just follow the instructions. With the original proposals, a lot of you got into trouble, or you just didn't pay much attention to the instructions, and I know these are detailed handouts, but this is the largest portion of the course, or these grades for these submitted projects. So please follow the instructions carefully, and make sure that your progress report, your formal progress report, is complete as possible. As I've said previously in the course, the main goal here was to kind of force your hand on doing some of that deep reflective activity that many of you responded to in the Chapter 6 quiz that I just was reviewing last night. Many of you spoke in much detail about the need for deep reflection and what deep reflection is, and that deal approach towards thinking about not just what happened, but why it was important and reflecting upon it later. That's what these activities in this formal progress report are meant to do. And so as this handout shows, you're going to submit this, and basically I'm looking mostly at how reflective you are here, how much you've completed the materials. There's not a lot of emphasis on original content or the sort of thing that we saw with our first project. Rather, this is how well do you describe and document your service, and we'll see how it gets shaped into a more formal report for your final project. But that's the key with these progress reports. Now, in the lesson notes, I did say if you are still conducting your service, if you still need a little bit more time to complete this material, email me. And if you email me and explain to me what's going on, we can give you a short extension or whatever, or I can coach you into turning in what you have already. I know that some of these service projects, just like last summer, that many of them were still sort of in progress and in play. But we really want to try and pay attention to the deadline tonight, because I need to submit grades, and you need to be moving forward on these projects, and we only have 1 week left, and there is absolutely no ability to have extensions at the end of next week. And so we have to get these projects completed, and as I said, last semester I had 3 students that wound up not completing their projects at the end, and they failed the course. So be in touch with me if you're having issues with your project. We can talk about an extension. We can have a conversation about what you need to do. Otherwise, I will expect to see your progress reports, your formal progress reports, submitted to the Turn It In section here no later than midnight tonight. Okay, the other element that is due along with your formal progress reports is your service log submission. This is mostly paperwork to sort of prove that you've done your service. You know, you're all at a distance, you're in communities, I'm not in touch with any of you. When we do this on campus, I go and do site visits, which is something I really quite enjoy, and I see students as they're conducting their service. But here we have to rely upon verification. This is why you need to have a community partner. And so if you just go through the detailed instructions here, it's just a check mark, but you will not pass this course. You will not pass this assignment number 2, the formal progress report. You will not be allowed to submit your final graded report, which is basically the entire next week, unless I have some verification that you actually completed this service. So, how to complete your forms. You can scan these forms. You can take a photograph of these forms and submit them that way. It's all described here what you can do. You can email these to me. I don't care. I just need to have the material, okay? And if I don't have verified material, I will not sign off on your final project. I will not give you an approved grade. You will fail the course. So it's important that you fill out these logs completely. Every service partner that you work with, have them complete and verify the hours. There's a formula. If you didn't complete your full service hours, that's fine. I mean, 15 is the goal here. It's the requirement. For every hour that you're a little bit deficient, you lose some points, but it's not the sort of thing that will fail you in the course. What will fail you in the course is either lying about your service, and I can follow up then with these contacts and find out if you actually did do the service or not. So lying about that is academic dishonesty, so that's not going to be good. Just not submitting one is another way to not pass the course. So if you only wound up doing half of your service hours, just be honest about that. Again, you can overcome some of that in your final document, your final report, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But it's important that you be honest and accurate in what you're posting and reporting as far as your service hours. And make sure that you have those necessary signatures and people that are willing to verify. One of the things I had said in your progress reports that you could do, or you should do, is include some photographs of your service so that you can verify, and we have all that sort of straight and above the board. So that's for today, Thursday. What's left? Well, we only have a few items left, but they're big items for the rest of the semester. So basically we're here. On Friday, you will do your final Friday forum. It's going to be a little bit different this time because obviously, since these Friday forums are set up to be completed over the course of a week, this Friday forum is going to end next Friday, which is the end of our course, the absolute end of our course. So we can't have you posting challenge questions for your classmates to answer. They're going to be done on Friday, right? So what we're going to do instead is we are going to have you post your own challenge questions and then respond to those challenge questions and also post a final reflection of this novel, The Book of Unknown Americans, which based on the comments in the forum so far, most of you have found very engaging and interesting. And so just post a final reflection basically, and it's worth 30 points, and that's due at the end of next week, but the sooner you get that out of the way, the sooner that's done, okay? That's the final reflection. And then the other thing is we'll work on our final, Unit 4 is our final project, and usually if we're on campus, we have student presentations throughout the rest of the final couple weeks of the class. So this is the way we think about it. We're celebrating our service. We've done all the service. We had the formal proposal to begin with, which has been graded for everybody here. We had the progress reports, which kind of force you to document what happened during your service. Now we take time, and the whole point is to culminate in this major final presentation. This final presentation and final paper and report, basically, it's a lot of material, but it asks you to combine all the stuff you've been doing all semester, if you've been keeping up with it, in the course, and you just put it together in this nice formal report at the end, and presentation. It should be easy. If you've been doing all the work so far, it should be relatively easy. You should have most of the material already put together. It's just a matter of organizing it and making it available to your readers in this final format. So the final reports, as it says here, on Monday we'll start Unit 4 and we'll open up that folder, and you already have had access to that folder. So you should already see what the final report looks like. You should see what the student examples are. I'm going to click into that folder in just a second and go over a few specific things. But all the materials you need to know are already posted. On Monday, I will post some final notes for everybody looking forward over the course of the next week, of our last week. And that's basically it. On Monday will be pretty much our final lesson. So click in on that. But for today, you'll want to take a close look at these documents and make sure you've got everything together. Get those formal progress reports submitted. Finish up any service that you've got to do. Contact me if you need an extension, all these sort of things. We just don't have much time left, so you have to get all this stuff figured out by the end of next week. So you'll see that our final presentation in forums is due on midnight Thursday. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And our final report is due in assignments on midnight on Friday. So you have two due dates. You have your final presentation is due on Thursday in forums, and you have your final report due on Friday. Those are two separate assignments. Those are the final two assignments for the course. Okay, let's finish up this discussion with our final discussion of our final report. So I'm in the Unit 4 section. The materials have been open all last week and all this week for you to review and look at. And so you should be familiar with what the final report is, which you're going to be working on all next week. That's everything we're going to be focusing our efforts on. There are student examples and student samples of final reports from last semester. And I just want to say, I looked at the informal progress report forum, and we had 7 out of 10 people submit. So 3 of you still have not sort of updated me on your service project. So that makes me nervous. But those of you who did submit to the forum, it looks like you've been able to at least go and do some work, do some service, and record some material, hopefully, and I'll see in your formal progress reports how that went. The next step is going to be shaping that material as per the final report guidelines, so that you have a nice report for the rest of your class, okay? And that report basically has, I'll click on it right now. Oops, final report guidelines. Okay, so you'll notice that it follows the same format that we've been doing all semester in every one of these reports. It looks intimidating because it says this is worth 250 points, right? And it's got to be, we're looking at something that is about 10 to 12 pages typed. But a lot of this material should be stuff that you did for your formal proposal, because the first part is the background on the project. So you'll not cut and paste, but you'll take that material that you used in your formal proposal, and you kind of, in this reflective space, in this final report, you report back to this, and you say, and the guidelines are all listed here in part 1, you basically just explain what you were going for, what you were trying to do. Remember, a lot of emphasis on inquiry and learning and overcoming problems and all that sort of stuff, and where your skill set is and what you thought you might be able to accomplish with your service project. And this is where you can cite some sources, all that stuff that should have appeared in your formal proposal, right? Part 2, this is where you describe your service. It asks you to talk about milestones, missteps, and to point to some specific exercises from your textbook. You'll notice that there have been a lot of readings from the text. There have been a lot of readings from the text in the last couple of lessons where I haven't had you do quizzes. This is where it's coming to play now. You're going to sort of use your textbook as a resource to flesh out this final report, right? And then part 3, this deep reflection element that we've all talked about, it's in your book. We want to have more than just sort of, oh, I did these things. We want to see what you learned. This is an inquiry-based course, FYI. If you haven't gotten the point yet that your report and everything you do in this class is supposed to measure growth and what you've learned in the process of doing something, overcoming some obstacles, confronting new things that you're not familiar with, getting outside yourself. That's the sort of stuff that we want to see in this deep reflection. So again, you'll see resources from your textbook, specific chapters with exercises that are meant to help you flesh this out, okay? So make sure that you spend time reflecting and thinking about what you did and what you learned at the end of the course. And then finally, include your outside sources and your references here at the end. I'll talk more about the final presentation you'll make in your forums on Monday when we do our lesson, but just be aware, most of you who had troubles in the formal proposals you didn't follow instructions. So just follow instructions as closely as you can, and you should be okay. Hang in there. We're almost done.